Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my theory video for whether or not Father Gabriel is bitten. Okay, so at the end of last episode, we saw Father Gabriel, and he's sweating, and his eyes are like purple, and he looks like shit. He looks like he has been bitten by a walker, because usually when characters are bitten by walkers, they look like that. After a while, after a few hours, they look like that. They look sweaty, they look pale, like their eyes change colors, like the area around them, and that's exactly what Father Gabriel looks like. So a lot of people are talking about this right now. A lot of people are theorizing, because Father Gabriel has lived a long time in the show. He's been around since season 5, and he's become a lot more likable and a lot more morally good. And, you know, usually that's a punishable trait in this show, I think it's fair to say. Unless your name is Morgan, being a good person gets you killed. And he's not even a good person anymore, so he doesn't even count. But, you know, we saw last episode that Gabriel was praying to God, asking for a purpose, saying that, you know, if he dies, fine, but he wants to die with a purpose. And at the end of the episode, he looks like shit. He's sweating. He just looks like he's been bitten. And, you know, Gabriel and Negan, when, you know, they were fighting all those walkers, it's possible that Gabriel was bitten. However, I can guarantee he was not bitten, because basically, I think it's a plot. It's a plan that Gabriel has. He could be sick with something, or he could be faking it. I don't know how he'd be faking it. Maybe he took like a pill that made himself sick. I don't know. But I don't think he's been bitten by a walker. When he says that they need to get Dr. Carson out, I think what he's doing is he's trying to help Maggie, or he's trying to help someone on Rick's side, someone that's been injured, because there's got to be people that have been injured. Well, I guess not, but I mean, Maggie is going to need Dr. Carson at some point. At some point, Rick is going to need to get Dr. Carson back. Like all the, you know, the Hilltoppers and the Kingdom, they're going to get Dr. Carson back. I think they said that in the first episode. We're going to get Dr. Carson back, because Dr. Carson is a doctor, and Maggie needs him to look at her all the time, because she is about to get more and more pregnant. That sounded kind of weird, but she is. She's about to, you know, I don't think she's got a baby bump yet, but she will, because I think she's only been pregnant for like a few months, maybe not even that, maybe like a few weeks. But, you know, eventually she'll start showing signs of pregnancy, unless she's already gotten a baby bump and I've missed it, but I don't think that's happened yet. But she will. She'll get there, and, you know, she wasn't very far into her pregnancy when she had a really violent attack on her body, like a problem that she had, and Dr. Carson was able to help her and, you know, help her recover. But he said that he would need to keep checking up on her very often so that she can successfully have the baby. So I think this is a part of Gabriel's plan. He's going to try to help get Dr. Carson to Maggie, and he's going to convince Eugene to help him, because Eugene doesn't really want to be with Negan, or something like that. Something really diabolical, because not only has Gabriel become a good person and a fighter and a survivor, but he's also become smart. You know, when Negan first came to Alexandria and he was wondering where Maggie was at Hilltop, and Gabriel didn't want Negan to know that. So he quickly buried a fucking grave and pretended like Maggie was dead. Like, he ran up to Negan and was like, "Do you want to go to her grave?" You know, like, that was really smart thinking. So Gabriel's smart, you know, he's adaptable, he can come up with really smart plans, he can trick people. That's where he's at right now. He's become really smart, really capable of doing things on his own. And I think this is a part of a diabolical plan to get Dr. Carson out, so that Dr. Carson can be returned to his home at the Hilltop, where he can continue to help Maggie have her baby. And that's not the only reason. I mean, it's just, I think at this point we've had so many characters get bitten and be sweaty. You know, like, if you show a character just be sweaty and you don't show the bite, it's like, why don't you just show the bite? Why would you hide that? Unless you're trying to mislead the audience into thinking they're bitten, but they're not bitten. They're just sick, or they're just faking it, or something. I think that's what they're doing with Gabriel. They're faking it. They're tricking the audience, because if he was bitten by a walker, if he looked that shitty because he was bitten by a walker, why didn't they just show the bite? Wouldn't that be a better cliffhanger anyway? There's a reason that they did not show a bite. And that reason is because there isn't one. There probably will be an explanation for it next episode or the episode after, but that was just a cliffhanger for the fans to start going crazy and being like, oh, he's bitten, but he's not bitten. I can almost guarantee it, like 100%. And there's another reason, and that reason is, okay, comic spoilers. If you haven't read the comics, or if you don't care, that's fine. But, if you don't want to know, like, stuff that might happen later on because of the comics, then stop watching. Hit that subscribe button, and then stop watching. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, if you don't want to know comic spoilers, stop watching. But in the comics, Father Gabriel survives all-out war. He lives into a new beginning, and he dies during the Whisperer War. Basically, this is a few years after all-out war. There's these people called the Whisperers. They decapitate some characters: Ezekiel, Rosita, Amber, the blonde girl that was Negan's wife, and a few others. They decapitate them and they put their heads on spikes. So Rick and everyone, they get together and they form a militia, whatever it's called, like a military group to go out and fight them, and that's called the Whisperer War. It's like a six-part story in the comics. It's a 6-issue story, and one of the casualties during that war is Father Gabriel. What happens is that Father Gabriel is on an outpost, or he's in a tower. He's up a tower, and it's a very tall, high up tower, and he's keeping watch for the Whisperers, or for zombies, or for any sign of trouble, so that he can report back to Dwight. But what happens is he ends up falling off, and he falls down the ladder, and his leg gets caught in the ladder, and it rips the fuck open. Like, it's bad. It's actually like the best part of that storyline, but it's bad. Like, his bone is like sticking out all the way, and like he's in massive pain. And then Beta, he's one of the Whisperers, if you don't know, but Beta comes out, and Gabriel is like, please help me, and then Beta just like disembowels Gabriel. Like, his intestines come out, and he's just like laying midair. His arms are just like hanging down, and he's dead, and he's gonna turn. Like, it's really violent. It's really different, and it's really interesting because he had lived so long in the comics, and then he just dies in that weird way, and he kind of dies like a coward. In the comics, Gabriel doesn't really get this redemption story arc. He never really becomes a prominent character. He's usually just in the background. He does try to help. He does try to, because he does try to become part of the military and stand on watch in the tower. That's the first time he really tries to do anything useful, and he fails miserably. I forgot what exactly happened, but I know that he falls. Maybe he gets shot or trips. I don't know, but it's kind of an embarrassing death. And in the comics, he's just kind of a bitch, and he's not very important, and he's just usually in the background. And it was just an awesome death. And here's what I think. I think they should give Gabriel in the TV show most of that same death. Now, before you throw tomatoes at me, hear me out. It is a cool death. He falls down a ladder, his leg rips open, he's hanging down, he can't do shit, and then Beta comes in and disembowels him. That is a cool-ass death. This is The Walking fucking Dead. You gotta have shit like that. You gotta have major characters dying in violent ways. I know when I first saw Glenn's death in the show, or before then, I was like, are they gonna do that? Are they gonna do that? They're not gonna do that. And then they do it. And I kind of get that. I kind of understand Glenn's death, because it was such a memorable, gruesome, just disturbing, hardcore way to kill off a main character. Even though, honestly, TV Glenn was 1,000 times better than Comic Glenn. Comic Glenn was the only reason people even remember Comic Glenn is because of that death. Like, that's like the defining moment in the comics. Like, that's like the moment everyone knows about. Like, that's what made it popular. Other than that, Comic Glenn didn't leave much of an impression. And, you know, Stephen Yeun had nothing to do with that. You know, Stephen Yeun in the show made Glenn awesome. Like, Stephen Yeun was amazing. Stephen Yeun was phenomenal in the role of Glenn. And then they still gave him that death, and it was kind of awesome, because it was a little more tragic. Glenn died a little bit more heroically, you know, telling Maggie, still attempting to comfort Maggie in his last moments, even though he was like brain dead. He just had such a much more developed relationship with everyone. In the comics, he was really just close to Maggie, and that was it. In the show, he was close to Daryl. He was close to Rick. You know, he helped Enid, and he was just a lot more heroic and a lot more. You know, he didn't kill Nicholas. You know, he was so much more of a moral conscience of the group, and he did so many good things, and it just left such a bigger impact when he got his comic death anyway. And it was just, it's a lot, in a way, it's a lot stronger in the show than it is in the comics, even though the way he dies in the violent part, it's the same, but since his characterization is a lot more tragic and heroic and good, it just makes it that much more impactful, even though it's the same kind of violent death. Now, I think Gabriel is the same scenario. If they're going to give Glenn his comic death, they can give Father Gabriel his comic death. I think it would be worth it. I think it would be a fantastic moment. It's going to happen in Season 9, not the first half, but the second half. I guarantee Season 9, Episode 8, that's going to be the Heads on Spikes. And then the last half will be the Whisper of War, Episode 9 through Episode 16 of Season 9. That's going to be the Whisper of War, and that's going to be when Father Gabriel gets his death at some point. Now, you know, it's mostly going to be the same. He falls down the tower, he rips his leg open, he gets stuck in the ladder, and he's just hanging down, and then Beta comes up. But instead of dying like a coward, or asking for help, like Gabriel just spits on Beta's face or curses Beta out and says, you know, I'm ready to go to heaven, you know, go ahead, kill me, you know, you're not going to win this. Like, he just gets some really badass final line of dialogue, even though he's wincing in pain, his bones are sticking out his leg, he's covered in blood, he knows he's going to die, but after all of this development, he goes out like a badass. He like curses out Beta, and he's like, you know, you're gonna lose this. I'm ready to go to hell, or I'm ready. Oh God, I'm ready to go to heaven, or like maybe like he tells Beta he's gonna go to hell, you know, or like, you know, I've confessed my sins to God. Go ahead and kill me. You know, just Seth Gilliam, the actor, is a really good actor. So I really want Seth Gilliam to get that death, to get disemboweled, stuck on the ladder of a tower. It's perfect. He deserves that death because he's such a good actor. And I feel like Gabriel's getting to the point to where he's fully developed, he's fully realized, he's come into his own, and he's become a hero, and he's become a soldier. He still has a little more growth. I think he could become even more of a hardcore soldier, especially during the Whisperer War. And he could become closer to Rick. Maybe he could become closer to some characters like Negan. We've already seen like a start of a connection between him and Negan. You know, Gabriel still has some development, but late into Season 9, I think it's time for him to go. I think it's time for him to die. It's his 5th year. That's a while. I think it's perfect. I think it's the perfect way to kill him off. I think it's worthy of the actor's acting skills, his versatility. I really want to see Seth Gilliam trapped on that ladder, getting disemboweled, but instead of dying like a coward, asking for help, he just says some, like, mind-blowing final words that just curses out Beta's existence, and then he dies. Then he gets disemboweled. I think that would be a perfect end for the character. I think it would be a worthy end, and I think it's the way to go. So that's why I think they're not going to give him this death. That's why I think they're not going to have him get bitten by Walker. Because most of the time with comic deaths, unless it's a shitty death like Abraham getting the arrow or Morgan getting bitten by a Walker in No Way Out, if it's like a shitty death, they won't do it. But if it's like a violent, gruesome death, they will do it. Shane, he pretty much got the same death, I think. Well, he got shot by Carl when he came back as a Walker. But like Shane's death was kind of shitty in the comics because, yeah, he just got shot through the neck by Carl. You know, like there's no there was barely any build up. It wasn't really dramatic. It just a casual bullet through the neck. And John Bernthal deserved more than that. So his death was more dramatic in the show, and it happened later on. But you know, like some of the really memorable deaths, like Jessie. Jessie got the exact same death. The only difference was she had 2 kids instead of 1. That was the only difference. You know, Glenn got the same death. You know, so usually the best deaths in the show or in the comics are the ones that get adapted in the show. And I think Father Gabriel's death is actually one of the best parts in the Whisperer War, and I think it should be adapted fully, other than the part where he kind of goes out like a coward, because Father Gabriel's character is a lot different in the show. It's a lot different, but I still think he should get that same death. So that's why I think he still has a while to go. It's just, I think it would be kind of lame for him to just get bitten by Walker and for him to just die. I think he's got a plan. I think he still has some story left, and I think that comic death is just too badass to not give it to him. So I don't think they're gonna have him just get bitten by Walker and just go out that way. I think that'd be a shitty move. And you gotta save some characters for season 9. You gotta kill some characters off for season 9, and I think Gabriel's gonna be one of those characters. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Comics. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make a shitload of Walking Dead content. Guys, we are at 248 subscribers. We are 2 away. 2 away from 250. What are you waiting for? If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, because as soon as I get to 250, I'm going to make the most badass celebration video you've ever seen. It's going to be the most amazing thing ever. I'm not kidding. It's going to be just mind-blowing. So please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the people that have subscribed. I appreciate every single one of you more than words can describe. I love all of my fans. Thank you guys for your support. This channel is going to be amazing. I know it will be. We're just, one step at a time. And I am, like I said, I am not going anywhere. So let me know what you guys think. And I am Spencer Rhodes. I will see you guys later. Bye.